Greetings, Earthlings. How are you? I know it's been a long time. Huh? I don't think it's been that long. About 2 weeks. Has it been longer than that? I don't know. Potato, potato. Slap your mama. You know. What's going on, Code and Evelyn? Down to earth. D is in the back. Reach for your life. Reach L is in the building. And Tam is in the building. This live may ruffle a few feathers. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. As long as you're okay with it. I put a poll in the chat. Lena, okay. I can't call you L Boogie. Okay, Lena. I'll call you Lena. I'll call you Lena. All right. So let's get started. Should we get started? Or should we talk about where we've been? Should I talk about where we've been? Let's see. I think the last 2 weeks we've been sleep, overworked, mentally overworked, not overworked, like, oh my goodness, this is just too much. Just taking a mental break and then off to a trip. Uh, Fun lunch live. When I say yes, you say yes. Right? Oh, I should do my giveaways. We should do a giveaway. So got John Pennington's book, Dollar, Gold, and Bitcoin. Need to read that. Got a couple other books out there. Need to read that. I need to catch up on my magazines. Right? Anybody out there? Oh, put it over here. Anybody out there? You look at the bottom down there, and I see, you can see NASA is spending $5 billion. To take a closer look, you let other people tell it that nobody is spending any money. We're all broke. We're gonna talk about being broke today. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Down to earth, you missed us. We back. We even got a show scheduled for tomorrow. No, right? The day in the life of being in tech. Well, we're here. But I mean, if you really missed us, you could have came on Wednesday nights to the meetups. We still had those every Wednesday. I think I missed mine on one or two. Maybe one. Still had those. Still rocking. All right, so let's go. So, let's talk about it. So the black wealth is increasing, but so is the racial wealth gap. This is Foolish Finance Fridays. We're gonna talk about some finances and we're gonna talk about some things, right? But let's start with I'm gonna lead into it. I'm gonna lead up to it. All right. You'll see what I'm talking about. So the black wealth is increasing, but so is the racial gap. So, and that's the title. And this is from Brookings. I know I read on this in January this year, but we're gonna rehash some things. All right. So according to the latest data, they got a link over to the Federal Reserve survey of consumer finances. The nation's racial wealth gap increased during C19. The median wealth increased by 51,800, but the racial wealth gap increased by 49,000. adding up to a total difference of 240,000 in wealth between the median white household and the median black household. You'll see where I'm going in a minute. The survey of consumer finances is the most comprehensive survey on household wealth in the United States. Updated every 3 years, this data provides a representative outlook of our current, past, and economic landscapes, which is particularly helpful in capturing the economic realities of households during the onset, peak, and duration of C-19. Even though the wealth increase across the board, the data discussed here shows that not all people are reaping the benefits. While the housing equity increased for Black households, other components in wealth building, such as corporate and business equity, key. Corporate and business equity did not, exacerbating the racial wealth gap. Centuries of discrimination in public policy, financial practices, societal norms that limited Black wealth accumulation have not been overcome and will require broad structural changes to rectify the long lasting impact of inequality. All right. The wealth increases during the pandemic did not narrow the persistent racial gap. In 2022, for every $100 earned in wealth in wealth held by white households, Black held only $15. So for every 100 they make, you make 15. Well, and this is only compared to whites. There is one out there from Financial Samurai that compares to Asians, and I read that study and I reported on that study too. But this is where we're here right now. Wealth measures the total value of assets a family owns, such as housing and business equity. Now let's pause right there because on the internet right now, all I hear is if you own a house, you don't own nothing. That owning a house don't mean nothing. As you gotta have, if that house don't make you no money, is you just got a mortgage. That's what I hear. I hear if that house, if you own a car and that car ain't making you no money, it's not an asset. Even no cars don't appreciate in value. Okay, well, let's talk about that a little bit. All right. Mm, all right. Let's talk about it. Let me get the right link. Because this is not something that you all really start really talking about a lot. Do I want to? Maybe we'll go here. Let's talk about. We'll talk about some cars first. So people will tell you like cars don't appreciate over time and whatever, whatever. They're right to an extent. There are certain cars that do appreciate in value over time, right? So here, let me pull this up before I get into this because I know some people don't believe fat meat is greasy. So let's get it. What's going on, Sadie? Um, let's see. I don't trust the one. This the one for progressive, but let me look at the Kelly Blue Book. All right. So this is from Kelly Blue Book. And then I go back to the Porsche. The Porsche. Right? We're talking about assets. Right? Can your car be an asset? Sure, depending on the car. All right. So the best resale value, top 10 in 2024. The 2024 Bronco has a 66.7% 5-year resale value. And you can see the Tacoma, the G Class, this, that, and other, the Supra, the Prius, the Forerunner, and so forth. So then they walk through the resale value of these. Now, these are current. My thing would be on this Mercedes, this G Wagon, wait 5 years before you go buy one, maybe even 7. Now, would that put you in? Would that put you at the end? Yeah, but at least the depreciation of that car will be gone, and what you get is what you get. So if you sell it, you're okay, right? Now, if you're gonna go into a car like this, then you need to get it and get out of it real quick. But you also probably need to put a nice little something down. Now this is probably more like the 550, not the AMG, because the AMG costs way more than that. Now let's go over here to the Porsche and look at what the Porsche prices over 7 decades has done. So in 2000, let me continue reading here. All right, so in a 2012 Porsche, of course, making sure you keep the miles low, it didn't decrease, it actually increased. And you will see that a lot in Porsches. And this is just from somebody who's been looking at Porsches. One of the Porsches I was looking at, the MSRP on it was on that red one, D, was 156 when it in 2016, and it's going for 206. In 2016 it was 156, and now it's going for 206. So that just gives you an idea of like what does Porsche look like, and this map shows what Porsche prices over 7 decades. So why am I telling you that? I'm telling you this not for you to go out and buy a Porsche. What I'm telling you is assets come in many shapes and forms. And so it's not just real estate, it's not just buying a business, it's not just, it is being strategic, back to that word again, about what you put your investments in. All right, so I was also surprised to note that the year base that the year of base 911, that is the most expensive in 1991. That year the 911 started at 60,000, which comes to a shocking $120,000 today. Right? Right? And so you will have to do the research. Really, if go look up the Forerunner and its resale value, say from 5 years ago to today. Right? Go look up the Forerunner from 5 years ago to today. Let's see. Let me look it up for you. All right. All right. The Toyota Forerunner would depreciate 19% after 5 years. So that's why I told you about 5 to 7 years out. and have a 5-year resale value of 44,567. The Toyota 4Runner ranks in our top 10 for both the 5 and 7 year rankings and does very well for retaining its value over time. The 4Runner, the Toyota 4. Did anybody think that the 4Runner would be retaining its value? The 4Runner. The 4Runner has been in production since 1984 and has a loyal following. If you can find one in good shape without a ton of miles on it, it could be your next SUV for the next decade. Make sure it hasn't spent too much time on the beach, or in the woods. However, as owners tend to really use these vehicles for off-roading. The chart below shows the expected depreciation over the next 10 years. These results are good condition for averaging around about 12,000 miles. It also assumes a selling price of 55,000 new, and in 5 years it would depreciate by 19% and still sell for 44,000. Is that an asset or is that a liability? Does that come with stipulations? Of course it should. But how many cars you know after 5 years have only really decreased by $10,000? All right, so let's keep going. It says the results of the vehicles are good condition, blah, blah, blah. Our depreciation calendar will predict the expected resale value of the Toyota 4Runner. And so they talk about where it starts out at and then what it looks like over time. What the 4Runner would look like over time. If you held it to 2031 with 120,000 miles, the resale value of it is $30,000 still from 2022 to 2031. From 2022, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 years from now, it's still $30,000. Right? So, again, when you are looking at your car, it's best to go look at the depreciation value of that car over time. Now, the cars that are like mass produced, like the 4Runners, more than likely mass produced, but look at what the depreciation of that car is over time. Now, if you want to get into like an AMG G63, anything in the AMG, I'm going to tell you wait 7 years, buy 7 years out. So if you see a 2016 AMG and we're in 2024, you're probably doing okay, right? 7 years out, depreciation is probably gone out of that. 5 is good, but 7 is better, right? Everybody put a 1 in the chat. Let me know, does it make sense to you? Put a 1 in the chat. So while we arguing about whether or not your house is an asset, which gains equity, which grows over time, we should be arguing about assets, liabilities. How do we find these assets? Right? I just showed you a Toyota 4Runner. So let's go to Car Guru. Mm, 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 mm. They didn't buy that domain. All right, so let's go look at the Toyota. And let's go look at the 4Runner. Mm-mm-mm. Let's see, 4Runner. Let's look in. I don't know. Let's look in Georgia. And we're in 2019. I mean, we're in 2024. So let's go back 5 years. Let's go back to 2019. Let's go from 2018 to 2019. We don't want to go no. All right, so we got one out there for a Toyota 4Runner, a limited edition, 37,000 miles at 40,000. We got another one at 60 at 35. We got one at 20 at 89,000 miles on it, 29,000. This one almost got 100,000 miles on it, and they're still pricing it almost at $30,000 for 2018 at $30,000. Right? So, ladies and gents, those that are looking for cars for their kids, and you want to hand it off to them, get a 4Runner. It's still gonna maintain its value. The kid can then take that 4Runner and go sell it, have some money for graduation if necessary, or have some money for something else. I'm just saying, think outside the box, Sadie. Think outside the box. Think outside the box. All right. So now let's go and look at. We're gonna get back to some stuff. Nah, gas ain't gonna be that much. Remember, we ain't going that far. Porsche. I mean, we running out of electricity right now. So shit, we might be back at gas. We're running out of electricity. All right, let's go for a 911. And let's go. Okay, now let's take this 911 and let's go. Let's go back to a 2014 to a 2016 on a 911. You still look a 2016 GT3 RS, and that's why I be meaning it is some holder value. It's got 7,000 miles on it. It's a 2016. It's still 209. A 2015 65. It's got 55,000 miles on it. Right. This is what I mean. Some cars still hold their value. So now let's see if we can get mileage low. Let's see, find something under 15,000 miles between 2014 and 2016. Here's the GT3, all the RSs, all the GT3s. Mr. E. Bowden, what's going on, buddy? How are you? Holding their values. Holding their values. I'm not telling you to go get a Porsche. I'm just showing you how to look up depreciation in your cars. Thank you for becoming a new member. 100K earner. We appreciate you. Right? Assets, liabilities. Being strategic about even the car you're buying. Being strategic about even the car you're buying. The location in which you buy from. What type of relationships do you have with the salesmen and the managers? What type of relationship do you have with the bank? What type of relationship, what kind of money do you have set aside for a down payment? All these things matter. All these things matter. Let's get back to it. All right. We talked about the median wealth, which provides an indication of typical household financial security and capacity to invest in their future increase at a varied rates by race. All right. So here it said the total It said between 2019 and 2022, the total wealth increased for racial and ethnic groups, right? However, according to the survey for consumer finances, median wealth increased from 27,000 to 45,000. We go with that 28,000 to 45,000, but continue to lag by other racial groups. In 2022, the median wealth was approximately 62,000 for non-white Latinos or Hispanics and 285,000 for white households and 536,000 for Asian households. So are Asian households building businesses? Are they buying businesses? Or what are they doing? What is different? Now remember, from Financial Samurai, the outlook for a black person to become a millionaire, they would need a master's degree compared to a high school student graduating, compared to an Asian student graduating from high school will become a millionaire. So 2 steps up, finish high school, then get the actual bachelor's degree, and then get the actual master's degree. For black people, that's a better chance. All right, that's a better chance. That's according to stats. Now, that's not Tamika talking. That's stats talking. Right. All right. So here we are in blue down here. If you want to see what we look like, this is what we look like. Blacks are down here at the bottom. Hispanics are on top. Other is right here. Blacks are at what was that? 4 trillion. Right? Something like that. Hispanics at 4.25. Other, whatever that is, and then whites at 107 trillion. Right? Since 2010, the wealth disparity between black and white families has persistently expanded. From the very first survey of consumer finances in 1983, the smallest difference between black and white family wealth was 123,000 in 1992 and has steadily climbed, peaking in 2022. Right? From the figure 2 shows that in 1989 to 2022, the black white median wealth gap has averaged 172,000 and rarely dropped below 10%. However, in 2019 to 22, the gap breached 10% of the average, signaling a increase in disparity not seen in 2007 when the gap reached 214,000 and 22 for every $100 earned in a white household, black households held $15. So if your white counterpart is sitting at the bar with 100, you there with 15. Who getting the drinks? Who getting the drinks? Congratulations, Stay on starting your masters. Let's go. Make sure you get somebody to pay for it. Right? Net housing equity, followed by business equity, drove the largest portion of wealth accumulation for Black Americans in 2019 to 2022, as shown in the figure below. It says here, compared to nearly 72% of whites, a vestige of discriminatory housing practices such as redlining and blockbusting. All right, so here they talk about the business equity, the stock and corporate equity, and liquid assets, other wealth, and net housing wealth. So we're going to start there. I'm trying to get it down a little bit so we can see it all in one. Okay, now you can see that all in one. All right, cool. All right, liquid assets right here. Hispanics have 1%, other have 0.7%. Blacks have a minus 1.1% in liquid assets, meaning you don't have you're not liquid. All right, let's go over here to stock. Blacks at 1.1%. Others are at 6%, give or take. Hispanics minus. They're not investing. Business equity. Blacks are up. in business equity. Net housing wealth, blacks are up, and then other wealth, whatever is defined by other wealth, we don't know. It's 5.5. Business equity is another vital wealth building component for black families, representing 21% of wealth accumulation in black households. This proportion of business equity is in overall growth was much lower in Latino and Hispanic households, 4%, but similar to white households and other non-Latino and Hispanic racial groups. An increase in black businesses can play a critical role in increasing wealth. Now, with that being said, what does it mean to have a business? Can you be one person in a business? Is that a solopreneur? What is that, right? It says in 2020, black businesses employed 1.3 million people and created over 48,000 new jobs. The largest disparity in wealth growth was in stock equity, which made up 30% of white wealth, but only 4% of black wealth. Get the stock options, get the sign-on bonus, get the stock options, do the investments, do the work. Right? All right. This is indicative of the impact of intergenerational wealth divides, resulting in the average white family possessing more investment capital than the average black family. Since 1980, the profits made from selling off stocks known as capital gains has acted as a key driver of stock equity disparities. So, let me, who was it? Let me look. Let's talk about it. Hyatt Hotels insider sells over 4.5 million in company stock. In a recent transaction, an insider at Hyatt Hotels has sold a significant number of shares, which may be considered a 10 part of a 10% owner group based on certain agreements, has disposed of 26,734 Class B common shares, realizing over 4.5 million from the sales. The transaction took place April 24th or April 25th, involved in the sale of the shares at the pricing ranging from 150 to 155. The highest price recorded for sales was 155, with the lowest being 150. Specifically, on April 24th, a total of 8,734 shares were sold at weighted average between 151 to 155. The next day, 17,000 shares were sold at a flat rate of $150,000. Following these transactions, the trust remaining ownership of Hyatt Corporate consists of 260,000 shares of Class A common stock, which were obtained through automatic conversion of the sold Class B shares as per the company's amended and restated certificate of incorporation. Right? You can be in the game, but you're gonna have to you're gonna have to, if you're gonna be in the game, you need to understand it. So let me pull up one more. Let me pull up one more. Let me get this off and I'm going to stop here. Now this is from 3 weeks ago. Why the Hyatt is selling 2 billion in assets? This is from 3 weeks ago. Right? Hyatt Corporation plans on selling off up to $2 billion in $2 billion worth of real estate assets, mimicking a business strategy implemented by competitors Marriott and Hilton years ago. Right? And now here we are. That was from 3 weeks ago. Hyatt Hotel insiders sell over 4.5 million in company stock. In company stock. So, what assets have we learned about tonight? We have learned about certain cars have an appreciation value, not all. You have to be strategic about those cars. I talked about the 4Runner. I talked about the Porsche. The next one is the Hyatt Hotel Insider and their assets. So, but we also learned about equity in stocks. Equity in stocks. All right. Let's get back to it. All right. Stock equity appreciates more rapidly in comparison to housing equity, catalyzing wealth accumulation drastically for those who historically already hold stocks. Large racial disparities in equity reflect the growing concentration of wealth. In 2020, Brookings senior fellow Vanessa Williamson wrote that the 400 richest Americans have more total wealth than all 10 million Black households combined. The 400 richest Americans have a total wealth than have more total wealth than all of the 10 million Black households combined. Looking at the housing and stock wealth since 1989, the increasing wealth gap becomes dramatically clear. Real estate wealth and stock equity show the power of intergenerational accumulation that a myriad of discriminatory practices have catalyzed. So put in the chat what other things do I talk about? I talk about stocks, I talk about bonds, I talk about CDs. What else do I talk about? REITs. I talk about REITs. You can't get into the real estate game by actually buying the land, by buying the property. Go and buy the real estate REITs. In particular, look at the data center REITs. Look at the data center REITs. All right. And you're right, Evelyn. This is what I'll be saying. This is what I'll be talking about. The racial gaps persist in housing and stock equity. So when you get that sign-on bonus, don't go pay your bills off. Go invest the money and then let the money accumulate and then pay off your go and take the interest off of that and then pay your bills. Keep paying them down. You can use the avalanche method or the snowball method, right? But and now if you got your money in there, say you get $10,000 on a sign-on bonus and it grows at 8% over a year, well, you could just take the equity off of that or the growth off of that and then put that into towards paying down that debt and then let that 10,000 keep working, right? You can keep adding to that 10,000, but the goal is you want that $10,000 working for you while you're continuing to work and while you're continuing to grow and establish yourself. Paying off your bills, that's one thing, but the money doesn't get a chance to work, right? You just take it and give it back. I'm saying take it and keep it, let it build up, take something off the top of the interest, and then go from there. So let's go do the investor.gov. It's not gonna be much, but it'll be something, right? Let's say you got $10,000, you go invest it in, I don't know, VU. Let's say we don't make no contributions. Let's say we leave it in there for a year. Let's say we're gonna do a rate of return of 8%. We're gonna give or take of that. Let's do a calculate. So in a year, it'll be $800. That's without you doing nothing with it, right? It could be $800 or it could be $11,000. So you can still take that $800 off the top and then go and invest it in something else. And this is just playing in the stock market. I'm not saying that you're gonna get you're just gonna get 8%. You can invest in something and get more than that, right? Well, let's say you added in every month, you added in $200 to this investment. And then now let's calculate that. So in a year, if you added $200 a month to that investment of $10,000 that you started out with, you get $3,200 back. You take off that 3,200 and now go pay a bill on that 3,200. Guess what you got left? You still got $10,000 left. Do it again. Put another 200 back in there and let that 200 keep spending. And every year, you're just going to get that 3,200 to pay onto something. I'm not saying it is a fast way, but you at least get something on that sign-on bonus. Now let's say you take that sign-on bonus and you don't do nothing else with it for the next 3 years, right? And you leave it in there for 3 years. You in 3 years it'll double itself. It'll be $20,000. You can still now you can take 10,000 off the top and go pay something off. But again, you're only putting in 200. You keep paying that minimum on that, and then keep it moving, right? So that's just one little small way. One little small way. All right. All right. Let me see. All right. So here we go. Government transfers and business increase Black household income, while salaries drove white household income. So this is what I really want to get into, because everybody is like, Black people need to go create businesses. Black people need to go do this. But what's driving our counterparts? Our counterparts are saying salaries drove white household incomes. While y'all are over here trying to figure out how to start a business and sell do rags and horse teeth, they over here working. Y'all over here getting all these horse teeth put in your mouth. You're over here getting these do rags and eyelashes. They over here going to work every day, letting the insurance do insurance, letting. But why though? Why is the question, right? Why is the question? All right, so let's get into it. So let's look at it. For retirement, 1.1% for whites, minus 1.3% for blacks, 1.6% for Hispanic and other, minus 2.5%. Non-retirement, 1.1% for blacks. Let's look at investments. This is going to be a telltale sign. Investments, 8.5%, 3.8%. Business and self-employment, and then wages. Blacks, minus 0%. So whatever one section of Black people are doing, working, there's a whole nother section over there equal that ain't. We minus. We over here minusing out. We over here canceling each other out. And it's evident when we talking about all this stuff online. It's evident. If you got one sector of Black people like, go past 100, yay, go past 100K, and we got another section over here. All you need is 100K. All you need to do is get 100K, and you're gonna be set. You gonna be straight. You know what I'm saying? And well, you know what I could do with 100K? If I made 100K, you know what I could do with that? Y'all don't know how to budget. Y'all don't know how to live. Y'all live past your means. That's all I hear. Y'all don't know how to do nothing. All you want to do is spend. That's all I hear. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, if we go look at these wages and salaries, all y'all do is go over there and spend all the money. You don't y'all ain't even y'all don't even want to help out in the household. All right, government transfers play a larger role in the average income growth for Black and Latino households compared to white households who profited most from investments and wages. I come in the club, shaking my dreads, throwing these bows and busting these heads. Nook, if you buck. All right. Government transfers comprise the 17% of overall income growth for Black households, rising 1.1% from 2019 to 2022 and 26% for Latino and Hispanic households as historic economic relief legislation such as the CARES Act, coronavirus, so forth and so on, Act sent direct cash payment to millions of Americans. However, income growth for white Americans whose income grew the most of any racial group during this period. Y'all over here getting handouts. Y'all were flying to was it Tulum? Y'all over here in Mexico. Y'all over here going to Dubai. Y'all going over here, that's right, popping bottles. You up in the club, throwing the boats and shaking the breads, right? Y'all over here, you like duck, 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 duck. Well, I'm a y'all over here doing all that, investing in the BBLs and horse teeths, and then you wonder why you over here doing that. They just steadily working. Now let's talk about what happened during the pandemic. Most people during the pandemic was probably working two jobs. Now, if we're gonna really be real about it, if I can work a job that's paying me 150 over here, another one that's paying me 80, another one over here that's paying me 160, I'm working. I'm working, not twerking. I'm not buying horse teeth. I'm good. I'm not going to the turkey hut. I'm not going to Tulum. I ain't going to Cabo. I ain't going to Houston. I don't need to see what they're doing. For what? They're doing the same thing whatever they're doing in Houston, they're doing it in Atlanta. Whatever they're doing in Miami, they're doing it in Atlanta. I don't need to go there. Yes, the veneers are the horse teeth. And I don't know why y'all running out here looking. Why all y'all teeth look the same? All y'all running around here with the same teeth. And some of y'all teeth, look at this. This is ridiculous. Look at her teeth. My teeth and your look at this. Y'all ain't never been to this minute. Y'all ain't been to the dentist this much in your life. Look at her teeth. It looked like she got a like she just take them out. Just put them in and take them out. Why y'all getting your teeth done like this? First it was the lashes, now it's the teeth. But why? And why y'all teeth so extra white? right? I get it, you whiten your teeth, but why y'all teeth so extra white? Y'all look like y'all wash your teeth, look like y'all take them out and then you scrub them and wash in Clorox. I get it, but y'all teeth be extra white. I don't understand why all y'all teeth look the same. Look at Nene. What's wrong with y'all? You done did your eyebrows, your eyelashes, your nose. What else y'all done did? Chin, teeth, cheekbones. What's going on? All right, let's get back to it. All right. So we need structural solutions to close the racial gap. It includes housing, critical markets, past and present discrimination in critical markets, including housing, banking, taxation, higher education, and more, result in lower average wealth for Black families. Policies that privilege whiteness are reflected in higher levels of wealth for average white family, which can be leveraged across generations. And I agree and disagree. While growth in Black ownership of businesses and homes is a positive step forward, it's not enough to combat. Okay, so here is what you need, right? You need a portfolio. And I'll probably talk about this a little bit more tomorrow. You guys don't talk in terms of portfolios. A portfolio is a collection of financial investments like stocks, bonds, commodities, cash, cash equivalents, including closed funds and exchange traded funds. And we can take this one step further and include your REITs. You can include your businesses that you own. What is your wealth portfolio like? How do you create a wealth portfolio? Right? Establish your investment profile. Let me make it bigger. Establish your investment profile. Allocate assets. Decide how to diversify. Select investments. Consider taxes. Monitor your portfolio. Set your foundation, set it and forget it. You all are thinking in terms of just real estate, but it's not just real estate. It is the skill sets that you have so you can earn more so you can invest. It is also the assets and being strategic about the assets. When I talk about the gold and the Bitcoin or the crypto or the blockchain or the REITs, when I talk about going and buying businesses and whatever, and those businesses could be websites, those businesses could be YouTube channels and so forth, right? Being strategic about your assets that you acquire, right? What appreciates slow and steady. You ain't got, if you want to hit a home run, you can, but slow and steady still works. Don't buy horse teeth, buy the business that is creating the horse teeth. Buy the business that's actually doing the cleanup of those horse teeth. Don't install the lashes, be the reseller. Y'all ain't all, don't be like that girl that set the last set car on fire. Don't do that. Right? I'll talk about the portfolio, the overall portfolio tomorrow. So let's get into the insults. The racial wealth divide and the Black home ownership, new data show small gains. This is from February of 2024. I'm not going to read all this. It's the same thing. But let's keep going. because I want to prove something to you. Being black in tech can cost you 10,000 a year. This came in 2017. So I posted in the chat. I posted a questionnaire. And my questionnaire was basically, why do you want to be in tech? Why do you want to be in tech? They're already telling you they're gonna pay you less. They're already telling you we're gonna outwork you may or may not get the job. They already telling you that you don't qualify. So why do y'all want to come to tech? Why? What's the point? What's the point? I've already told you the places that make the most engineers. I mean, the most millionaires, engineers, lawyers, teachers, and accountants. Why don't y'all want to go be accountants? You can make $100,000 being an accountant. What is it specifically about tech that you want to come to? Let's talk about it. This from 2017. Being black in tech can cost you $10,000. Let's go. Other headline. Black tech professionals face ongoing salary gap. Hispanic tech workers also find salaries lag behind whites and Asian colleagues, though the gap narrows. That is from 2020. Is there an ethnicity pay gap in tech? It's a 2-minute article. It don't say when, but this is a foreign article. Voice. Black women in tech make 90 cents for every dollar a white man makes. This is from 2021. Right? Black people in tech are still paid less than white people, according to Hired. This is from 2018. Right? Let's scroll up. What is the racial pay gap for IT professionals? And the list goes on. And then here. No, yeah, that was it. So why do you want to be in tech? What's the point? You're not gonna make the money you said that you think you're gonna make, right? I mean, according to the article, right? Because every time something comes up, when it comes time to get in tech, y'all run to it. Now it's AI. Everybody's like, "Oh, I want to be a prompt engineer, and I want to do this." Listen, what's coming? How do you become a prompt engineer? Where does that data live? Right? Why do you want to be in tech? You're gonna get underpaid. You got to increase your skill set. You ain't gonna want to do it. You're gonna want to take trips and get horse teeth. So why you want to be in tech? What's the point? D, they quiet tonight. I don't understand. Why you want to come to tech? Why? What is the point? What is it that you see about yourself in tech? You're not gonna work with nobody that look like you. You're not gonna go to any events. Like my grandmama say, and my mom say, you ain't gonna let them people in your house. So why you want to be in tech? Okay. So why do you want to be in tech? Okay, here's why you want to be in tech. Because you want the opportunity and the ability to make as much money as you can. Is that starting a business? Could be, depending on who you are. Is it starting to work in tech? Could be. But being strategic about where you work in tech is important. And that's something that you all got to work on. Like that investment portfolio, it should include skills, because those skills pay bills. And when bills are paid, what happens? Your credit profile look good. Everything look good. On my mama, on my hood. right? Everything looks good. You get a chance to get a little breathing room. You move more. Nothing wrong with you being in tech. I just want you to understand what you're facing when you do come to tech. Set the reality, set yourself up, build up your foundation, and understand how to move. Nothing wrong with it. But don't say I want to get a tech because I heard I could make a lot of money. Yeah, you can make a lot of money. You can also lose a lot of money. And you say, how can you lose money? You can lose it with time. The amount of time that you take to be in tech. All right. Shall I talk about financial mistakes? Nah, I ain't gonna beat you in the head like that. I'll go back to it. Let's have a little fun. I don't beat you up enough. You know I can keep going. Let's see. What do we want to talk about here? Oh, because my arsenal was ready. My arsenal was ready. I had more. Let me show you. This from Linden Tree. I may talk about it a little bit tomorrow. Income, wealth, and savings. Right. Here we go from that one right here. Then we got this one here. Where you thrive at? Where you at? Black Americans thrive the most in DC. Ranks in the top three in three of the five metrics. Black households in DC Metro have a median household of 82,000 with 40%, 40.5% earning 100,000 or more. People tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, they gotta earn 100,000 in that area. It's like a base norm. Meanwhile, 37.2% of blacks adults in 25 and older in DC have bachelor's degrees or higher. Black residents in Austin, Texas finish second, while Provo, Utah, and I guess Poughkeepsie, New York are tied for third. Provo, Utah. Remember when I talked about Utah earlier this year? What places where blacks were moving to? It says here, half of the black Utahns live in Salt Lake County. According to the 2020 census, 52% of Utah's population lives in Salt Lake County, which is home to 36% of the total state population. A slightly larger share of Utah's black residents, 87%, live along the Wasatch Front than the population as a whole. Provo, Utah. Now look at these stats. It is 81.5%, but it is 0.9% black. 0.9. Provo, Utah. Is where we're thriving. Utah's black or African American population grew by nearly 24,000 over the decade. Utah's black population grew 55%, while the total population grew by 18%, causing the black share to increase from 1.6 to 2.1. Provo, Utah. Let's go look it up. All right, about 500,000. What is in Provo, Utah? All right, see, Provo, Utah. Look like it's pulling back about 17,000 jobs. A good salary in there. You'll be a top earner at 100,000. Let's see. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. All right. Yeah, it's still the same thing. African American traveling to Provo for business. Here's a interview from 2 years ago. Debate excellence in Utah for interview. We out there. Provo, Utah. This is from 7 months ago. Let's just look and see what it looks like. This is what it looks like. This is where we at. Well, one of the places we're at. What's going on, MB? Bridal Veil Falls. Of course, they have wild animals in Provo, Utah. But what is driving black people to move to Provo? Is there an incentive? I have no idea. I have to look at it. I look it up. The house is about 600,000. 4 to 5, 4 to 6. Looks like 6 is where you want to be at. They probably all look the same in these neighborhoods, these newer neighborhoods. Salt Lake County is where they're at though. What percentage of Provo is Mormon? Nearly 90% of the population is made up of the LDS Church. Mormon County. There we go. Provo was named the least diverse city in America. Why are we in Provo? I don't know. Need to figure that out. That's some research I'll do. All right. So let's get into a petty tea moment. We'll close the cars down. Let me see. Is this one? All right, let's go. We were all set to enjoy our retirement. My son invested in startups and we bailed him out with $100,000. What now? We agreed to help. It was with the understanding that this debt will be paid back with his share of the inheritance. Oh yeah, let me log in. It's like what now? Like, dude, I'm like, what now? Like you done spent your money? What you mean what now? That's on y'all. All right, let's go. All right. Oh, why did I just said log in. They said it logged in. All right, let me log out, log in again. I think it's this one, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Let's hit cancel there. Is this right? Nope, that's not it. It must be on my other one. Let's go. And here, this should be it. Yeah. All right, let's go. Okay, they bailed out their son. My husband and I have been retired for the past 7 years. We had good jobs, saved, and we now have some financial security. We downsized from a 4 bedroom to a 2 bedroom home, from 2 cars to one. We bought prepaid cremation plans, and we continue to save where we can. Several years ago, we drew up our will with an attorney and placed the appropriate assets into a revocable trust. It sounds like we were all set to enjoy our retirement, right? My son, however, has had financial problems. He joined some promising startups. However, startups don't always take off. He and his wife and young daughter who needed his support. He has a young wife and daughter who needed his support. Without the means to support them, he turned to his parents. He was taking risks knowing that they was gonna bail him out. Basically, he said when we agreed to help him by giving him $100,000, it was with the understanding that this debt would be paid back in his with his share of the inheritance. Now he has a steady job and no longer needs our help. How do we fairly document this debt in our will and take into consideration that he is not the only beneficiary? We simply take it out of his share of the inheritance and ignore the fact that other beneficiaries would have received a bigger share of the inheritance if not for his debt? Once we determine an equitable distribution, how do we document this in our will? All right. Your plan should be twofold. Be transparent with your son, who he knows what you plan to do. This is not necessarily of course, but it will help offset any hurt feelings after you're gone, and ideally give him time to get used to the idea that he will inherit X instead of Y. When a loved one dies, it can bring up all sorts of family dysfunction to the surface. So the more honest and respectful you are about different inheritances, the easier probate should be. And two, be specific as you can in your will. Include the reason why you don't want to leave your children equal amounts. It could come down to one child being richer than the other, or being or being housing insecure, or having a chronic medical issue, or simply because of favoritism. But there is a difference between equal and equitable, and y'all need to learn that. And no one is entitled to receive anything from a parent. If your money, if it's your money and your choice to distribute it as you see fit, like you can leave your whole entire inheritance to a cat. D, what was the name of that lady that named left her money to a dog, or was it two dogs and a caregiver and a cat? You could also leave a letter of instruction in your will. These are often used to detail miscellaneous issues, such as the list of life insurance documents. And put in the chat who all got life insurance. Do y'all have y'all life insurance? You have your term life insurance? Do you at least have on the back of a napkin where you want your how you want your stuff distributed and add up? Do you at least have beneficiaries on your 401k? Do you at least have beneficiaries on your 401k? Y'all should be having beneficiaries on your 401k. What about your term life insurance policy? Did you at least sign up for the 401k at work? Are you at least doing that? Katrina said yes. All right. All right. It says, but you can also detail your reasons for leaving one child X and the other one Y. You can include a no contest clause. If an heir contests the will and loses, they forfeit their inheritance. There's no right or wrong way of doing this as long as you're crystal clear about your intentions and write a will that will help of an experienced trust and estate attorney. Each each last will and testament is unique. If a parent loses a child, for example, they may choose to leave that share of their child inheritance to to the child's children. You gave your son financial help when he most needed it, and I trust that he will ultimately understand that. So they go into tax and legal implications on this as well. It's kind of long. I don't feel like reading that. Let's go to the next, because I think that comes in a gift. All right, let's be messy. My half siblings are trying to slither their way into to get a handout. How do I make sure my parents only leave their home to me? Is it selfish? Do the half siblings deserve any love? All right, let's go. My sister from my mom's previous marriage lives in an RV in our driveway. All right. I don't know why this is doing that. Okay, cool. All right, cool. We're ready. All right. I live with my yeah, let's see, is this right? Yeah, yeah. I live with my elderly parents and I am the only child they share together. My father has dementia, so I stuck around to help out. I have two other brothers and two older sisters from my parents' previous marriages. I'm the only child of both of my parents. I am considerably younger than all my brothers and sisters. My parents, my girlfriend are 10 years, and I live in my parents' home, which we paid off in a couple of years. My sister from my mom's previous marriage lives in an RV in our driveway. My mother has always paid my sister's rent, and now at 50 years old, my sister can't take care of herself. You're welcome. Oh, you're welcome for the information. You appreciate it. I appreciate you for listening. My Yeah. She and I get along fine, and she does help out with the chores. I know my mother worries about her well being after my mom passes away because my sister is bipolar. I have assured my mom that I will always take care of her daughter, my half sibling, but she needs to give me the means to do so. They don't really have money. They live off my dad's pension. My father ex-wife hates my mother. My siblings from my dad's marriage look at my mom as the reason they grew up without a dad because he left their mom to live with mine. My father's previous wife also hates my mom. But now that my parents are getting older, my sister is trying to buddy up to my mom to get whatever she can from them. Over the last 10 years, the sister has been to my parents' house half a dozen times. My dad kids don't deserve anything as they left and never came back to help him. My brothers have never been around in 10 years, not even a phone call. But now my parents are dying. My half siblings are trying to slither their way to get a handout. How do we get the house in my name with my paying the least amount of taxes? I'm thinking about putting the house in a trust with my parents and my name on it. Is that a decent idea? Any advice? Appreciate it. How do I handle this situation? Well, first off, it ain't up to him to not give them anything. It's on them. Now, if the parents decide that they want them to not give them anything, then that's on the parents. But it ain't up to him. It ain't his property. He don't own it. He living in it. And why he living in it with them, with his wife, with his girlfriend of 10 years? All right, let's go. Wants, needs, and obligations apply to all five of the children in your family. You may be the only one who wants your parents home, and you may feel like you are the only one who deserves it, but that may or may not be true in your parents' eyes. Exactly. There's no right or wrong, no good or bad decision. It's their property, their children, their choice. They may also be restricted in their choices. If they purchase this property as the tenants in common, they each own 50%, and either of them can leave their half to the third party after they die. There are no rights of survivorship by the other party on that type of deed. It's more likely, however, that they own the home as joint tenants with the rights of survivorship. Your two brothers may be out of sight and out of action, and your parents could decide that they don't need to share a family home. If they don't stay in touch, that could make your parents' decision easier. They may also receive a share of inheritance from their other parent, which your parents could take into account when splitting up the estate. Putting the house in a trust or making a will, leaving the property to you or to you leaving the property to you or to you and your siblings is the best way forward. Putting a child's name on the deed of the home while the parents are still alive is a bad idea because it prevents the child from selling the property at a step up basis, according to which capital gains tax is applied or the value of the house at the time of the homeowner's death. Classic problem for blended families. Your two sisters may be from a different prospect. Your mother's daughter lives in a RV. Your father's daughter has recently made efforts to reconnect with your family, or as you say, to buddy up to your mother. Every child in your family has their own unique relationship with their parents, and they may believe they deserve a share of their parents' estate for reasons that are known only to them. This is a classic problem for blended families, particularly when some children live far away and others are dependent on the parents financially or for housing. He depended on on his parents for housing. He ain't moved out and did solid steps to wealth. One sister is living in an RV on your parents' driveway, and you were living in their house with your girlfriend. Why you think you're supposed to be the Almighty, Almighty, right? You are a net contributor in terms of care, and while your sister in the RV is in need of support. Here's the hard part: it's not your job to make your parents' minds for them. Tell them, Quentin. Tell them, Q. By all means, you can put your case to them for why you believe that you are and you alone deserve to inherit their home, but they may have other ideas, and that's their right. Hell, they can sell it. You have gained something already by living in their home, presumably at below market rent or rent for free. You should have a say. Reasons for sharing the family home. Your sister may need accommodation too. She also has her own health concerns. She does not appear to be working and living in the RV in your parents' driveway does not seem like a long-term solution, especially right after they're both gone. I'm guessing your sister does not have long-term care insurance. And from what you say, your parents don't have a lot of spare cash. Your parents may already decided to split the estate by share. They could decide to split their halves among their own children, which could mean that you could end up 1/3 of the family home, which which would be twice as much as your half siblings. That could be enough for you to have a down payment on your own house for you and your girlfriend and yourself. Get out. That's what Quentin is saying. Grow up and get out. You got to get up and get out and get something. They should exercise transparency, and their children ideally should meet any estate planning they have made with acceptance. In a blended family, inheritance can create conflict and inequitable distributions and may lead to a lengthy, costly legal battle, right? Testimony capacity required for a will. Now, for the elephant in the room. If your parents have not made a will, it may be too late for your father, given he has dementia diagnosis. Dementia or any form of mental illness does not automatically mean someone cannot sign a will, but your father must have a testamentary capacity, meaning he must understand the implications of what he is doing. If he has not made a will, your mother will likely inherit the house. It will be up to her to decide whether she leaves her home to you, splits it among her own children, or decides to split among all five children in your blended family. Perhaps to splitting the property either 5 ways or 6 ways, with you getting one share from each of your parents. And what if your father and mother both die without a will? That could be a lot messier. You would inherit along with the other children of the surviving parent. In most states, intestate succession does not include stepchildren. As the only child of both parents, from an inheritance standpoint, it would not matter to you which of your parents died first. You would share inheritance equally with the parents' surviving children. Another outstanding issue involves any separate property held by your mother or father that include inheritances. One of them may have received during their marriage, or as well as property they bought into marriage that was not commingled with marital property. It may include beneficiary designation on the life insurance policies and other accounts. They ultimately get to decide. He has no say in this. He has no say in this. The mom and the dad, well, the mom really got to say so. So they better go over there and massage their mama feet. All right. Solid steps to wealth. You said truth. Many of us on this channel is one of the few places we can go find valuable financial information to research, make moves with, without the fear of being sold something. Yeah, I'm just trying to show you again. Some of you all have siblings, and you may have some siblings that live in that house, but now you're trying to figure out who gonna get what out of that. If somebody pass on, and who do and some people after living in the house they become entitled. They feel like, oh, I'm entitled to this because I'm living here with this person, when in actuality they don't have to leave you jack. They ain't gotta leave you nothing. They didn't gotta write you into the wood. They didn't gotta put you down as a beneficiary. So let's ask this question: if somebody put you down as a beneficiary to whatever they're leaving, is that an honor to you? Is that an honor? Is that a sign of respect and love? Right? Is it? And here's another thing: with the wealth transfer, a lot of people are gonna have 401ks, inherited IRAs, so forth and so on. You need to start looking into this, right? So, how many of y'all? Oh, D said guilt. Could be duty or guilt. Revenge. Why would it be revenge, D? Because you're thinking it's a tax implication on that. All right, so okay. Did you know? Because I didn't know this. Did you know? And this is you're gonna have to do some. I'm gonna do some research, some more research on this. Did you know that you can move money out of your Roth, your current employee Roth 401k into your own Roth IRA? So you work for a company, you have a Roth 401k, you're still working at the company, you haven't left, and you want to roll a portion of that money out into a Roth IRA where you can backdoor that IRA. Did you know that you could do that? Not a rollover. Not talking about a rollover. I'm literally talking about I got $700 in a Roth 401k on the Roth side, and I have a traditional IRA, and I want to roll and I want to move money from the Roth side of my 401k to my IRA. Now, some people would do this because of the actual ability to have more funds they can play with in their IRA. So that's why some people would do it. I'll go a little deeper on this because I didn't know you could do this. It was asked, but now I'm like, okay, why would I want to do this? And what are the tax implications on it? Right. And when would I want to do this? So here's some things to think about as we continue down this wealth journey is what happens if I have in my 401k, say 2 million in my raw in my traditional 401k, and say like 100,000 or 400,000 in my 400,000 in my Roth 401k. I can move that money over to my IRA, my Roth IRA, but then there is also a there's also so much money you can move at one time. But my point is this: you want to start studying taxes, right? Taxes, right? Right? Because there is penalties on the amount of money you're taking and transferring over to, say, you may want to move some money out of your 401k and do a partial conversion, but you want to limit your taxes on that. So again, I'll talk about more about this because you may get to a a position where you're having too much money in your 401k and you may want to start doing conversions or moving money earlier instead of waiting until you're 65 and then you're getting a bigger tax hit, right? So you may want to do that earlier and just maybe do it over time. This is not financial advice. These are things that I'm discovering along the way. But again, I'm looking at what that could look like for you where you could pay less taxes on that, right? Again, we're talking about building a wealth portfolio. What is in that portfolio? I asked this question today because I thought you could only have one IRA. I didn't know you could have multiple IRAs. I know you can have rollover 401ks, but multiple IRAs. So, what does that look like? Because I want to play options in my IRA, right? So I want to put some money into an IRA and play options into that IRA. So I may take some money and play with options in a particular IRA, right? And so I want the ability to uh, do uh, to play calls and puts. So let me see how many IRAs can I have? It says, yeah. And I looked this up. I don't know why I thought I couldn't. But it says an IRA could be a key part. And good news, there's no limit to the number of IRAs you can have, meaning you can combine the tax advantages of both traditional and Roth IRAs, or even open up one more than one IRA with the same type of account. So having multiple IRAs. So you can go over to Vanguard and look at what you can do in those IRAs. Remember, you can only contribute 7,000. Now, my question is, if you can only contribute 7,000 a year to a IRA, does it? I have to ask. I don't know this. I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. Um, well, maybe not. So if I contribute to my 401k and then that's pre-tax, and then after my 401k I contribute to all my IRAs, I think it goes up to $73,000 that you can only make to get it to have it used as a taxable to bring down your taxes. I think it goes up to 73,000. So what I'm getting at is if I put 7,000 in one IRA, 7,000 in another one, 6,000 in the other one, my income that I bring in order to get that seen as income, not taxable, taxable income or donated income, where it looks at and say, okay, she did 776, so she did 14 and 14 6, she did 20,000 across that. We can lower her tax bracket because that would be considered a donation, but you can't make over 73,000 in order to do that. So I'll look up some other ways because I'm like, what are the ways that we can bring down taxable income? And so I'm just looking at after taxes, before taxes, pre-taxes, donations. And I did look up this. And like I said before, you can You can invest. You can own a nonprofit and invest into a nonprofit. You just can't use the donations can't be used to come back to you. I'll show you that. Here we go. While the IRS allows board members and founders to donate to their own nonprofit, it does monitor situations where one person's contributions form a significant chunk of the nonprofit's total income. All right. As general rule, to avoid undue scrutiny, personal donations should be ideally stay below 50% of the total contributions to the organization in a given fiscal year. However, this isn't a strict limit, just a guideline to fly by. Charitable deductions. For tax deduction purposes, donors, including founders or board members, can deduct contributions up to 60% of their adjusted gross income when donating to public charities. But this percentage can vary on the nature of the donation and the type of organization. Some nonprofits may have internal policies setting limits on personal donations to avoid over reliance on a single funding source. It is always good to check any internal guidelines, right? Can I donate to my own nonprofit and navigate the complexities? When navigating the realm of personal donations in a nonprofit sector, one often encounters the intricate tapestry of charitable tax intricacies. Can you donate to your own nonprofit organization? Yes, you certainly can. However, it is essential to note that the gifts to a non qualified charity or nonprofit are not deductible, highlighting the importance of ensuring your nonprofit status is in order. So here's some tax implications. Historically, it's been ruled that raising donations for specific individuals is not allowed. Hence, fundraising efforts should be directed towards nonprofits' broad mission, not the person gains. Charitable and nonprofit organizations that adhere to these guidelines can qualify for tax deductions, offering a potential tax refund benefit for those who do donate. But remember, in your nonprofit financial dealings, transparency remains key. And I'll post this. Do you want this link? So I'll talk about more about this tomorrow about trust and donor advised funds. Because again, some of you all are not gonna go start a business. You're gonna work W-2, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with being a W-2 millionaire. All right. Okay. All right. I even didn't go to the whole 2 o'clock. I mean, 2 hours like I normally do. And I got more content, but I'll be nice tonight. It's getting late. We got to get back to it. I see y'all in the morning or afternoon. Y'all be safe.